Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the best betting show on YouTube. Before we get into the picks for this week, I want to take you guys over to the spreadsheet that we have. And if you'll notice, we are winning a lot of money. I mean, this is like no bullshit. We're winning a lot of money. Last week, me and Matt both took home over $200 profit on the year. I am up almost exactly $1,500. Matt, almost exactly $1,300. Matt, like, we're making money doing this series. Like, we're not like in the red. I had one red week. Other than that, we have been profitable every single week for both of us. We're both up, 1,500 bucks ish. You want to talk about kind of the numbers and kind of how we're getting there?
Yeah, and I think the one thing that we do that's a little bit different is we do get a free $50 parlay. But if you account for that money too, we're still both over $1,000 3 weeks into the season, and we're only putting 1,000 each week. So that's really good profits right there. I think that just consistently winning, like you look at like how we've lost. Last week the Cowboys lost, and that like kind of screwed both of us over. We still end up having a positive week. That was our worst week, and we still made 200, 300 bucks each of us. And for me, like I've kind of went the safe route, over 500 the first 2 weeks, over 200 last week. We're winning a lot of money, like you said, and I think that just our style of it is interesting. So I think start tailing these bets. And if you have different ones, make sure to let us know too. Like, hey man, we gotta go for this one. I know like we don't cover every single team each week. That's the other thing. We just cover the stuff that we like. And so far, it's looked really good. So I've been really encouraged with how this has gone. And honestly, I thought last week was going to be kind of a tough week, and I thought we might both go into the negative. I didn't really like the lines as much, and we're just the way that the show works is we have to bet a certain amount, still end up coming out positive. So I think that just goes to speak like, hey, we've been consistently good. So far it's been fantastic, and I've had a very lucrative start of the season.
Yeah, no, and I know like professional bettors, they'll say in order to reach profit, you gotta get like 55% success rate. And I think right now we're both well over 55% success rate. So we're perfectly on track to have some really, really good money making ability this season. But week 4, it's an interesting week in the NFL season. I like these lines a little bit better, Matt. I'm not gonna lie. There's games that I feel better about this week. The game that I felt best about last week was probably the Cowboys, and they decided to shit the bed. So again, you said this, a good, not great week for both of us last week, but I do think that there are some ones right here that I really, really like. All right, starting with my first bet of the year. This is a line that kind of surprised me a little bit. But Matt, you kind of said you agreed with it. I'm going to take the Dolphins. They are the dogs in this game by 3 points. I'm going to take the money line outright. Dolphins money line plus 124 odds. I'm going to put $200 on it to win me 448. Listen, the Dolphins, they scored 70 points last week, right? They're pretty good. I don't expect them to do that again this week against the Bills. However, they have proven that they are one of the best offenses in the NFL. You look back to last season, the Dolphins played the Bills 3 times last season. All 3 games were super, super close, and that's including a playoff game in Buffalo where the Dolphins had Skylar Thompson at quarterback. I think the Dolphins can win this game, and I think they will win this game if they're able to get a pass rush on Josh Allen. Now, the odds are pretty good, and I think the Dolphins are obviously riding high with momentum. I think they'll get Jalen Waddle back, and I always believe in Tua. You guys know this. So I'm going to take Dolphins money line plus 124, $200 on it to win 448.
I like what you're talking about the Dolphins. First off, their defense looks a lot better with Vic Fangio running the show there. They just look really good. Their run game's improved. They're obviously extremely explosive on offense. They are one of the better teams in the AFC, if not the NFL. Their offense is incredibly explosive. We saw that last week, and it was a really bad Broncos defense. But this week they're gonna have a test against the Bills. Now, I don't like dislike it necessarily, but I just would not bet on this game. I just want to sit back and watch this game because it is definitely the game of the week. Now, maybe we're going to have a lot of people bet on the Dolphins because I don't know why this narrative came about, but apparently people think that like Josh Allen isn't good, which is hilariously
That's terrible.
stupid.
Yeah.
It's hilariously stupid. It's so bad because yeah, he's not that good because he last year he only had 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. What a bum. But yeah, I think the Bills are going to still win this one, but last year the Dolphins Bills games were really good. They were good football games, and even in the playoffs when Skylar Thompson played, it was pretty good as well. So I think this is going to be a really fun matchup. I just think it's a toss up, so I don't really feel that confident putting money into this one.
Yeah.
Then moving on from that game, let's talk about a prime time game that really should not be on prime time in the Chiefs and the Jets. So Mike and I, we're both betting on this one. I am putting $500 on it. It's Chiefs -10, so it's not a close line. Mike's putting $300 on it. So we are going heavy into Chiefs -10. This is going to make or break the week for both of us. It would be crazy if the Jets hung in this game. The Chiefs defense looks way improved. Obviously, their offense, they kind of struggled a little bit in the first couple weeks. They explode last week against the Bears. Now, the Jets do have a good defense, right? The difference is the Jets offense is pitiful as it gets. They're terrible. 10 points for a Chiefs team that just cruised to like it was like 30-some point victory against the Bears. The Jets are really bad. They have Zach Wilson. Every week I've just kept betting against Zach Wilson, and it works really, really well. I don't think he's going to be able to be the quarterback there much longer. I think they're going to have to do something. We already saw that the Jets players are like really upset with Robert Saleh because he's like believed to be like a Zach Wilson truther.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know why this is a lot. Like, I don't know why it's this low. The Niners Cardinals, their line's 14 points. They have a 2-touchdown line. It's higher. I think it should be switched. I think this line should be 14 points. So we're both going super heavy on the Chiefs. I mean, if the Chiefs lose, I'm screwed this week. So much for profiting every single week this season so far. I will be screwed. But I'm putting 500 on it. Mike is putting 300 on it. Mike, I think this is the lock of the week. Do you agree?
No, and I agree. And, I'm not normally a guy who's going to put all of his eggs in one basket, right? But when you're betting on Patrick Mahomes to beat up Zach Wilson, yeah, you could put all your eggs in that basket. So you look at it from an angle of, okay, the Chiefs last week were favored by 12 against the Bears. That game wasn't close. The highlight of the game for the Bears was the Chiefs punting on their first drive. After that, pure annihilation. You had Taylor Swift in the stands, and I think that's an added edge for the Chiefs this week. I don't think we're talking about the Swifties filling up MetLife Stadium. So I think again that's more proof that the Chiefs are going to win by 10. But Matt, honestly, if I had to ask you a question, do you think the Jets score more than 14 points this week?
No, I don't think.
So if you don't think the Jets score 114, they score 14 exactly. Let's say that means the Chiefs have to score 24. Yeah, I think Patrick Mahomes is capable of putting up 3 touchdowns and a field goal. So,
bro, and you have to also remember they really don't have to score 17 because you can almost guarantee a Zach Wilson turnover that directly translates to a touchdown. That's the thing. It's not 2.
Yeah, they're gonna get a scoop and score by Chris Jones. So, yeah, this one's gonna be bad. I was actually when the schedule first came out, I was really looking forward to this game. It was supposed to be such a good game, and then just so. Chiefs -10. Yeah, we're both pretty confident in it. I'm putting 300. I'm going to win 585 when it cashes. But, yeah, we're both kind of screwed if this shit doesn't happen.
And moving on to my next biggest bet, not quite a lock, but I really like this one. I'm taking the Vikings -3.5 against the Panthers. Now, Bryce Young is playing. And if you guys have followed Bryce Young's rookie year and you followed how the Panthers have looked, that's a pro for this line, all right? Because Andy Dalton is going to be a better quarterback, at least early on this year. Bryce Young has really struggled. He's looked bad. He's looked too small. And kind of all the concerns that I had and a lot of people had about Bryce Young are looking true. Now, also, to be fair, the Panthers are not a good team. That's a lot of it as well. So I like the Vikings in this one. They're in desperation mode coming off 0-3. The fact that this line is only 3.5, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Vikings are 0-3. So I'm trying to take advantage of that. I'm going to be putting $200 on this line. It's -112. Pretty good spot right there. Now, the Vikings do play a lot of close games, so that's the risk. I was kind of torn in between going money line or -3.5. If you want to go a safer route, I say take the money line, but I am super confident that the Vikings will at least win this game. I just rather get the 70 basis points on that one to end up making a little bit bigger bet, and I'd rather risk that for 3.5 points. So I'm taking the Vikings -3.5. I like it a lot. Their offense has looked really good. Problem is their defense isn't good, but luckily it's a pretty easy matchup in this one against the Panthers team that is fighting for potentially the first pick this year, except they don't have it because they traded up for Bryce Young.
Fighting for the Bears. I love it. The only silver lining for the Bears this season. The Vikings should win this game. They're a much better team, kind of across the board. Their offense has looked really good. Kirk has been very underrated this year, and that's a weird thing to say out loud that he's underrated, but he's legitimately been really good this year. They just are 0-3, so nobody cares. Last week, I know this because they played my Seahawks. The Panthers looked better with Andy Dalton at quarterback. They looked like he he is a veteran quarterback, right? He doesn't have the special traits, but he could dissect the defense. He could make accurate throws. I thought he did a good job of standing in under pressure as well. Again, if Bryce Young plays, you're right. I think it does help the line a little bit. And I like Bryce Young, but again, he's a rookie. He's playing in his 4th game. It's going to take some time. The Vikings should win. They should cover as well. And if the Vikings don't and they start off 0-4, you really got to push the panic button, because I kind of give them some slack because they've lost to 2 really good teams, the Eagles and the Chargers. The Buccaneers one was kind of a shocker to me, but you lost to 2 out of 3 really good teams. If they lose to Carolina, we really got to ask some questions, but they should win. They should cover. I think the line is a little bit better because they're 0-3. Getting into my next bet, I have the Broncos -3 against the Bears. The line is -115. $200 I'm putting on it. It's going to win me $373. Now, you might be asking, Mike, why are you betting a team to cover by 3 points that just lost by 50 and gave up 70? Well, it's because they're playing the Chicago Bears, the, I think, undisputed worst team in the NFL right now. The Bears, where do you want to start? Justin Fields has regressed. The offense looks terrible. The defense looks terrible. Matt Eberflus is probably going to be fired before the season ends. You know, Matt, the Bears have never, and I got this stat from Twitter, so hopefully it's correct. The Bears have never fired a coach mid-season. This is a franchise that's been around for over 100 years, and they've never fired a coach. They're so bad that this might happen before Thanksgiving this year. I mean, like, seriously. So when you're in week 3 and you're already talking about the draft, yeah, we kind of know where the season's going. So I am taking the Broncos. Here's what I'll say about the Broncos. Their defense has mightily regressed, like badly. But what I think people haven't noticed because they've been losing is Russell Wilson looks better than he did last year. He does. Sean Payton, I'm not convinced that he's a great fit for the Broncos yet, but so far he has proven that he's still got it offensively. The Broncos offense looks like a competent, functioning unit in the NFL. The Bears defense looks terrible. I don't even think the Chiefs tried last week and they scored 41 points. They were all staring up in the suites at Taylor Swift. They dropped 41. They weren't even trying. Jordan Love looked like Aaron Rodgers back in a Packers uniform week 1, right? Baker Mayfield looked like an MVP candidate. Whoever the Bears play just looks great. And you're playing against Russell Wilson. I don't think the Bears have the corners to cover the receivers. They have no pass rush at all. It's just terrible. So everything about the Bears right now sucks. It's terrible. I'm taking the Broncos -3.
So you asked a question at first, Michael, why are you betting on a team that lost by 50 points and put up 70? Now you said a lot of stuff, but the correct answer is, Mike, you are an idiot. That is the correct answer there. I have no idea why you're betting this game. Now your points are fair. Like the Bears defensive line is probably the worst in the league. Their defense is absolute Swiss cheese. They're terrible, but their offense should be better than this one. The Broncos defense sucks. It's just a toss up. So I have no idea why you're betting this, Mike. I think it's, how much are you putting on it? $200?
I'm putting $200. Matt, I would not bet the Broncos to beat like any other team. Like I would bet them to beat like not even the Cardinals, not nobody else. I will bet the house. I consider putting all 1,000 on this. I will be honest with you. Putting this on the Broncos. You watch the Bears. I know you're not a Bears fan and you're not burdened living in Illinois like I am. Dude, the Bears are just incompetent at every single level. Let me give you a comparison here. Coach, Broncos, Bears, Broncos. Quarterback, Broncos. Offense, weapons, Broncos. Defense, even though they gave up 70, it's still crazy to say. Broncos. Everything about the Broncos is better. Everything about the Broncos. So I have no respect for the Bears right now. I think they're the worst team in the NFL, and I'll take the Broncos to cover. I'm sorry.
Fair enough. I mean, I think that the line's like fair. I just wouldn't bet on a really bad team. That's my only, like, that's my issue with it. But
yeah, imagine this is like betting. This is like betting. I don't know, like a shitty like D1 school. Like I don't know, like maybe like FAU going up against an FCS D3 school. Like that's the type of comparison I'm seeing.
No. It's like Stanford losing to a Division II school. That's what it's going to be like. All right.
Shout out McConnell, bro.
And my next one, Mike, this is for you. I'm going to be taking Seahawks -110 Monday Night Football against the Giants. The Giants, they do not look like the same team that they were last year. Now, to be fair, they played a couple really good squads, really good defenses in the Cowboys and the Niners. They lost those games. They had honestly, I know it was the Cardinals, but they had a really good comeback against the Cardinals, if we're being fair. Like, they were absolutely dead in water. So maybe the Giants hang around, but the Seahawks have just looked a lot better lately. coming off of two pretty solid wins. I know the Panthers are not a good team, but just the fashion that they won that game, they look like the better team. At first, this game opened up and the Giants were actually favored, which I was really surprised by. So I'm going to put $150 on the Seahawks. I like just the overall matchup in this one. I think they're gonna squeak by. I think it's gonna be a good primetime game, which is something that we are yet to see this season. But I think that the Seahawks offense is just a little too explosive in this matchup, and the Giants defense doesn't look like it did last year, because last year they were a really good unit, and this year they're still figuring it out right now. And I think that it's a hard team to run up against in the Seahawks, because their offense is clicking right now.
Yeah, and the reason I shook my head at the beginning is not because I necessarily disagree. It's that I just don't like betting on Seattle. I did it week 1. They lost. Neither of us have touched Seattle the last couple of weeks, and they're 2-0 in the last 2 weeks. So I feel some kind of jinx that you're putting on me as a Niners fan, and I don't really like it. But what I'll say is, from a pure analytical standpoint, and I will not be putting any money on this game, but from a pure analytical standpoint, injury news for the Seahawks is very positive right now. We're getting back our starting left tackle, Charles Cross. We're getting back Jamal Adams, who people want to dunk on. I know he's a lot better than Julian Love has been, I promise you. Reek Woolen is probably the biggest addition. This is going to be the first week we see Devin Witherspoon and Reek Woolen on the field together for hopefully the entire game. Devin Witherspoon looked really good last week against the Panthers. I'm very, very excited for him. So injury news is trending in the right direction for Seattle. I also think, like you said, Matt, yes, they've looked good. I think they've played 2.5 good games so far this year. They had a really bad second half against the Rams. Other than that, they have looked pretty good. The offense has clicked. I think Shane Waldron has done a good job of scheming up against our injuries. We've used a lot of 2 tight end sets and everything like that. We've been running the football well. Things that I like to see, right? And Geno Smith has been, I don't want to say game managing, because I think that's a little derogatory, but he's been reading the field well, making accurate throws, everything like that. So the Seahawks are playing good football right now. I hope that continues with the injuries. Will not be putting a cent on this game, but I do think that the Seahawks have a decent chance to win. I don't know what the injury status is for Saquon Barkley, and that is definitely, something to keep an eye out for. I will say, though, and this is just me being honest, the Seahawks run defense this year is much better than it was last year so far. Bobby Wagner is one of the best run defending inside linebackers in the league. So who knows? But I don't necessarily disagree with your sentiment, Matt.
And then another game that I have, and I think this one's really interesting, Thursday Night Football. I'm really excited for this game, actually. But Packers-Lions, I'm going to be taking the Lions -1.5. I could easily see the Packers winning this one as well. Like, this isn't one that I necessarily love. However, the Lions are a better football team, I think. The Packers have came back. They've looked good. Jordan Love has been really surprising. He's looked good so far. And I liked him coming out of school, but he just didn't play for so long, so there's so many question marks about him. Still has some accuracy concerns, stuff like that. But the Lions smoked the Packers last time they played. Now, that was last season, but the Lions are a better team now. I think David Montgomery should be expected to be back. I like the Lions -1.5. I'm putting 150 on it. It's at -108. So I feel pretty confident in this one, but honestly, I'm just excited to watch this football game, and I'm excited that we have a division matchup that is potentially going to be for that division title. Now, they're going to play again, of course, but early on, like that's the matchup. Those are the 2 teams that are fighting it out. So I'm excited to watch this one.
Yeah, no, big game with the Lions here. They beat the Chiefs so far. They beat the Falcons. Played a really, really close game with the Seahawks. The Lions have looked good so far, and I think their offense is clicking. Again, I'd like to see more involvement for Jahmyr Gibbs, but I don't disagree. I think they're a little bit better than the Packers right now, and I don't hate that line for you, to be honest, Matt. All right, and then for my last bet of the day, I'm going to hit the Bengals -2.5. Now, listen, I know that the Bengals have looked rocky recently, right? They've looked a little up and down, right? But they're playing against the Titans, and I think the Titans have one of the worst offenses in the NFL right now. Ryan Tannehill has looked terrible this whole season, and Derrick Henry just ran for 11 rushes and 20 yards. I said at the beginning of the year, I don't think people are ready for the conversation that Derrick Henry might not be able to carry this offense anymore. I'm not saying he's washed necessarily, but I don't know if he can be that guy anymore. DeAndre Hopkins has been pretty much a non-factor, I would say. And the Titans have really struggled. Defensively speaking, they got their shit rocked by Cleveland last week. And at their best, Cincinnati is a better offense than Cleveland. So taking the Bengals by a field goal, I'm going to put $300 on it. It's going to win me $567. I just think the Bengals kind of get their season back on track. I know they got a win and got to 1-2, but I think they get themselves to 500 this week against the Titans, and I think that they win by a field goal or more.
I mean, they definitely should, right? The Titans don't look great. Now, the Titans are always one of those teams that likes to like hang around and win some games and kind of be frustrating. So I could see an upset from Tennessee, but I think you're right. Like the Bengals offense does look off. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Their defense, I don't want to say it's taken a step back, but like losing Jesse Bates, it's obviously hurting, and also he's absolutely balling out for Atlanta right now.
Yeah, I will say, Dax Hill looks pretty good though. He does look pretty good.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. Like you look at this and you're like, the Bengals should win this one. But yeah, I don't have any strong feelings towards this game. I'll just kind of stay away from it, just because even against the Rams, their offense was still struggling. You know, like it didn't look that great. So until they're like really like fully back on page, I mean, it could be an off year for the Bengals. It really could. So I guess we will see though. Time will tell. But I'm gonna keep it in the same division for my final one. I'm gonna be taking the Ravens money line plus 125 against the Browns. Now, kind of the same boat as you with the Bengals. The Ravens offense doesn't look that great. Like they just look a little bit off. They're trying to throw the ball a lot more, trying to change up the identity with Todd Monken running the show there. But I'm only putting $50 on this one. I don't love it. I kind of was like, I think the Ravens are a little bit of an advantage. Let's toss $50 on it. They're the underdog in this one. I think they're a better team than the Browns. Now, they're still really depleted with injuries. I don't know how many guys are going to be coming back. Their O-line's really banged up. Marlon's been out. Like, they've had a lot of injuries, so we will see how healthy they are coming into this one. But figured put $50 on it, see if the better team can end up winning this one, because I do believe that they are the better team, and I think come season's end, maybe not right this second, they're going to be like either the first or second best team in the AFC North.
Yeah, no, one thing I kind of like about this game and the strength of the Cleveland Browns this year and in general is their pass rush. Myles Garrett's ridiculous. That pass rush is insane. What quarterback has the ability to evade pressure and make something out of it better than Lamar Jackson, right? So out of every quarterback, I think he can best neutralize that Cleveland pass rush. And like, they're not great in the secondary, right? I know Denzel Ward is really good. Outside of him, they're not great in the secondary. So if he can buy more time, if he can make things happen with his legs, I do think that they'll be able to move the ball against Cleveland a little bit. Now, again, that pass rush is going to come in waves, so I'm sure he's going to get hit today or this week. But I like the Ravens. I think that if you're going to take an underdog this week, the Ravens is probably a good one. And I don't love Deshaun Watson. Has not looked great so far this year. So I would agree with you. I think the Ravens money line is probably a good one to take for the underdog. All right, and then the segment of the show where we talk about some of the games that we're not betting. Falcons, Jaguars in London. I'm really disappointed with the Jaguars right now, to be honest with you, so I don't want to put any money on any of their games, but I don't necessarily love the Falcons either. We got, Steelers, Texans. Texans looked good last week, but neither team is really good. Again, Matt kind of says this a lot. He doesn't like betting on two bad teams, which in this case I agree with. Rams, Colts, the injury status of Anthony Richardson is not known, and that would determine my bet, so I'm not going to put any money on it. Bucks, Saints, not very interesting. Commanders, Eagles, that game could be an upset alert, but I'm not going to bank on it.
Okay, I do not know about. Honestly, Eagles. Okay, I will say two of these other games that I kind of like. I didn't put any money on them. Steelers should beat the Texans because they're pass rush, and honestly, I kind of like the Eagles -8. Like I'm not putting any money on it now, of course. Like we've already went through everything, but
yeah,
that's an interesting one because they just take care of business every week.
Yeah, that's true. I think the only other ones like Patriots, Cowboys. Cowboys looked bad last week. Cardinals, Niners. The line's a little too high for me to feel excited about it. But yeah, all right. So getting into our parlays, as you guys know, we've bet $1,000 of actual money, and then we get a free $50 parlay every single week. This is how the show goes. So for my parlay, I got an auto lock 6-legger, said every gambler ever, right? Auto lock 6-legger. I'm going to take the Broncos -3. I already talked about that. I'm going to take, and this has not let me down 3 weeks in a row, 49ers money line against the Cardinals. I'm going to take the Chiefs money line against the Jets. I'm going to take the Ravens and Browns to go over 41 points. I'm going to take the Dolphins and Bills to go over 53.5 points. It's a high line, I know, but it's two big offenses. And I'm going to take Vikings money line against the Carolina Panthers. $50 parlay wins me $716.
Good luck on the 6-leg parlays.
Thank you.
I'm actually going to go a completely different route. You're going for the big win, right? The big money win.
Yep.
I'm doing something different. and we've each hit one of our parlays. So I'm going to give you guys an actual bet that will hit. Am I going to win
Oh
a lot of
wow.
money on it?
All right,
Absolutely
bro.
not. I'm taking my $50. I'm putting it into a teaser. Getting 10 points on the teaser. So this is a low-end teaser. Maybe you change it up. Maybe you do 6 points, something like that. I am taking the 49ers -4 and the Chiefs pick 'em, and I'm going to come away with $41. And Mike, you can basically guarantee that's going to happen. If you are betting this week, bet a Niners Chiefs teaser. And for anyone that's like, well, yeah, but the Cardinals beat the Cowboys last week. The Niners and the Cowboys are not the same breed, guys. That is a different team. That is
The
a
Cowboys are
different
prone
team.
to fuck ups. The Niners really aren't. Yeah.
The Niners are not going to fumble against the Cardinals. They're not going to do bad against the Cardinals. And you're taking Chiefs to beat the Jets, guys. Chiefs to beat the Jets. This is as good of a lock as it comes. Seriously, this is a great teaser. I'm going to put a lot of money on it. I'm probably going to almost like all in like this weekend on this teaser. I love it. So $50 only wins $41. There's not really much there, but I wanted to bring this one up because it's actually an amazing bet.
So
Where
you're just
Mike's just going
guaranteeing
to
a
not
profit
get
for
anything
yourself.
out of it.
You just want like a profit on the parlay is what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, hey, there's no shame in that, right? I got a juicy 6-legger, which is a lot less likely to hit, but I don't hate your teaser. But yeah, that's the episode. Week 4. These are our picks. These are our parlays. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. As per usual, you guys are always welcome to check out the spreadsheet. I put in the description of the video. You can check out all the bets we've made throughout the year, what money we're at, how much profit we're up, everything like that. Matt, I'm going to send us off here. If you got any last words, then I'll go ahead and outro us out of here. All right. Y'all boys have a good rest of your day. Peace out.